Today we are going to start with heredity. This is a very interesting chapter of biology, and we come to know about so many things about how the characters, they are transmitted from one generation to the next. See,
Hmm.
otherwise, what we do when we just see the organisms, obviously, one of the prime function of an organism, of any living organism, is to make sure that its species is continued, right? Now, when
Hmm.
life started, it started as a unicellular thing, right? Now, the unicellular
Hmm.
organisms, they have very simple mechanism. So, in them, the mode of reproduction followed was asexual reproduction, right? Now, in this asexual reproduction, there is very little amount of energy involved, and the organisms they just simply divide up into two or more organisms in other some ways, right? We have many types of asexual reproduction also. But in
Hmm.
that case, now there is just one drawback that the characters which were present originally with the parent organism, they were as it is transferred to the next generation. Like, for example,
Okay.
if I say bacteria is resistant to something, so it will keep that resistance intact for further generations also, right?
Hmm.
When the life was very simple, the things were going well, but now the multicellularity, when came into concept, right? Now the nature was concerned about that. First of all, asexual reproduction is a very fast mode of reproduction. Now, as the size of the organisms increased,
Hmm.
obviously, a particular environment has a carrying capacity, means it is able to provide resources for a particular number of organisms. And now just imagine an elephant, if it reproduces by binary fission, I mean, every half an hour it is divided into two. How
Hmm.
is the environment going to provide the enormous amount of food which an elephant requires? It cannot, because it will be dividing at such fast pace. So, secondly, because there was a severe competition between different organisms and between the organisms belonging to the same species. Competition for
Hmm.
what? Competition for food, for water, for air, everything. So there was a concept of survival of the fittest, right?
Okay.
For this, every organism has got some different feature, right? The nature actually favors variation. So you have that concept all along. Like, for example, if I talk about a group of children who are taking part in a sports activity, now you may
Hmm.
wonder, one of the student will have automatically a very flexible body, right? By
Hmm.
default, they don't have to work hard for that, but other students, they have to work hard for that to achieve that kind of agility or flexibility. So by default, some characters are already present, and obviously the organism having the characters which suitably fits up in the environment, that is going to survive, right? Whatever the requirement of the particular field, so that is the thing. So in order to sustain this concept of variation, so that not all the organisms are just alike, they should be slightly different from each other. So this concept of variation came up with the concept of sexual reproduction. Although
Hmm.
sexual reproduction does come with lots and lots of negative points, like it involves the involvement of the two parents, there is dependency of, two parents, one has to depend on the other. Number two, there is formation of gametes. Number three, there has to be, fertilization of the gametes. So it requires a lot of energy and time. That resources are wasted. But still, it is the most preferred form of reproduction for multicellular organisms. The reason being the concept, the presence of variation, right?
Hmm.
So now we are going to talk about how the characters, they are, transmitted to the parents. If you just think about yourself, some of your features, they resemble your like father, and some of the things resemble with your mother. How it is possible? Still we are the same, right? Some suppose a baby is born, someone will say, yeah, it ये तो यार अपने मामू की कॉपी लग रहा है, नहीं 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 ये तो अपने चाचू की कॉपी लग रहा है. How come the organism has got so much of similarity within its family, right? So
Yeah,
this is
indeed.
the concept of heredity, the transmission of the genetic characters from one generation to the next, right? So heredity is basically transmission of characters from one generation to another, right? earlier when biologists, they have no idea about this, na? So obviously things were quite complicated. So we
Hmm.
didn't even think of this thing, right? But now,
Yeah.
as with the development, we have so much of clarity. But all these concepts which are there in present day scenario, the whole credit goes to George Mendel. He is appropriately called as father of genetics because of his contribution in this field. He contributed his 7 years of life towards this, heredity. But at that moment, he was not aware of the genes, the things. So, because at that time, the microscopes were not of that quality. So, development took place. And yes, his study was, conceptualized later on. But yes, he did initiated this thing. So now we are going to talk about further what the topic has. Now see, suppose we have variation, like we are talking about the concept of the importance of variation. What happens? Suppose some inheritance or some characters are being inherited from one generation and obviously they are transmitted to the next generation. So what happens? The small amount of changes, they have been passed on to the next generation. So same case happens with,
Yeah.
with every subsequent generation. So there are changes which are being transferred.
Hmm.
Obviously, similarities will be there, and obviously there will be differences over there. So naturally, the differences created, they will, lead to accumulation of variations which prove to be very helpful for any organism for its survival, right? Now, see, otherwise, our nature is very, very, very accurate when it comes to the copying of the DNA mechanism or anything. It is very, very foolproof. There are very less chances of any mistake when DNA is being copied, right? So it is totally like very foolproof method. But yes, uh, see, in nature, somewhere, some out of, you can say out of blues, one of the variation may be present, right? So that variation is by the nature's response, right? But obviously,
Hmm.
variations, they need to be present so that the organism is able to survive the ever changing environment. Our environment is dynamic in nature, right? Uh,
Oh.
Suppose you must have seen in your class, some students, they tend to fall ill very quickly. Some students,
Hmm.
they don't fall ill, right? Some students, they get fever as soon as the season of fever comes, right? So they don't have that immunity with them. Why is this? Although diet also plays an important role, but yes, genetic makeup also frames up the major cause behind this, right? So can we think of, if the variation is present, does it ensure that the organism or the species, they are going to survive? Is that a kind of surety? What do you think?
I guess
I guess yes.
because there are already, because genetic differences, so
Yes. So
they
if
might be almost same, similar.
yes.
They can be similar.
Right. So see, in whenever an evolution takes place, nature always favors the thing which will be beneficial for the organism. Right. Now,
Hmm.
suppose bacteria, they can withstand with, very strong heat waves. They'll survive. Now,
Hmm.
suppose I have 1,000 bacteria, and out of those 1,000 bacteria, 200 bacteria are like that. They're able to survive that severe heat wave. So what is the
Hmm.
benefit of now the bacteria? So the bacteria which were able to survive that heat wave, right? One of the example is there when industrial evolution took place. Now, before industrial evolution, there was an insect which was brown in color, right? And it's the character was green in color. So now the green color was not visible, right? When the
Hmm.
plantation vegetation was green, there was no industries over there. So brown color had this negative point because it was visible from height. So eagle used to eat that. But when industrial evolution took place, then all the green color just vanished because of the
Hmm.
extreme pollution, extreme, high level of industrialization. So that
Hmm.
led to the favoring of that brown color, because now it used to, hide behind that brown colored trees. Now green color, which earlier was advantages, now became disadvantages. So that totally depends
Hmm.
on the environment also. But yes, it's a very important tool in the process of evolutionary process, the variation, right? So now we are going to talk about the heredity, right? So we'll focus on that. First of all, there are some terms, some things which we need to, know for better understanding of the concept. Number one, traits. Traits are basically characters. Okay, they are the characters which have to be transmitted, right? Now, characters now or traits, we have first classification is of two types. One is your inherited. The other one is acquired. Now, as the name suggests, inherited means you are going to get it from your parents, right? The organism is going to get these characters from the previous generation. For example, the kind of hair you have, the height, the color of your skin tone, the eye color, it's all inherited. You cannot change it. Although, see, in today's world, because of the technology, you can change. You can change your skin color, you can change your hair texture, everything is possible. But yes, naturally, what you get, that is inherited character. Anything else you can think of?
Behavior.
Sorry?
Behavior.
Behavior, no, that is not. Behavior, so you learn na how you have to behave.
Okay.
So inherited is basically the characters which you get from the previous generation,
Hmm.
right? Now acquired means you have learned these characters in your lifetime.
Hmm.
Like for example, your studies, right? You cannot
Hmm.
pass on your degrees to your kids. No, you cannot, right? You can motivate them to study the same degree, but you cannot pass on the education level, right? You cannot pass on the any skill, right? If a person
Hmm.
is, having very good handwriting or uh, drawing achhi hai or sketching is very good, so that cannot be passed on, right? But yes, sometimes it is there in the genes. You have very good understanding of the art, or you have a bending towards art. That is totally different thing. See, whenever you are studying the brain or the heredity partner of humans, especially, it is very complicated. So we are talking about just the general things. So I think inherited and acquired traits is clear now. Inherited
Huh.
traits can be transmitted from one generation to next, but acquired traits, they are just learned in your lifetime and you cannot transmit them, right?
Okay.
Another way of dividing the traits is dominant and recessive. See, now the traits now, they are present in alternative forms, right?
Hmm.
Always found in pairs. So the alternative forms of any character are called as alleles. Okay. So these are the alternative forms. Like for example, if I just talk about height, suppose I take pea plant and I'm talking about the height of the plant. So the plant, it may be tall, it may be dwarf, right? So tall is
Hmm.
represented as this or this,
Hmm.
and dwarf is represented like this. So I have,
Okay.
if you can just see, I have drawn two capital T's. Here I have written two small t's, and here I have taken one from each, right? But still, I wrote this thing under the character of tall. Got it? Otherwise,
Yes.
it has both the kind of alleles, but the allele which is dominant means the capital lettered character is going to express itself, whatever the case may be,
Hmm.
right? I'm repeating again. I think it's not clear with you. Suppose I'm taking the height. Character is height. So I have the variations. Either the organism is tall or dwarf. Now, tall is represented. There are two traits. I told you, na? One is this and the other one is this. Okay. Out of these two, The capital T is the dominant character. What do you mean by dominant? As the name suggests, it is going to, express itself. Whatever the condition is, whatever its partner is, it is going to express itself. Now, see, when I am writing capital T and small t, right? This will be seen as a tall plant.
Okay.
Got it? Right? And the small t, the small alphabet, it denotes the recessive trait. What do you mean by recessive? Recessive is that it is not going to express itself in the presence of a dominant allele, but it would express if found along with another recessive allele, right? If I have another recessive allele, now the organism will be seen as dwarf plant, right? Got it? Now see,
Yes.
here also the plant is going to be seen as tall. Now, if I just see whether the plant is tall or dwarf, whether the plant is tall, suppose a plant is tall, I am going to visualize this thing. What is visible to me? Tall. The plant is tall. This is what, like, जो मुझे दिख रहा है. मुझे नहीं पता उसके जीन्स में क्या है, but what I can see is उसकी height. तो जो एक physical appearance है एक character की वजह से, that is termed as phenotype. Okay?
Okay.
That is phenotype, the physical appearance. Just one second. So it is physical appearance of a trait. अब टॉल प्लांट तो टॉल ही है ना, मुझे क्या पता उसके पास उसका जो कंटेंट है, उसका जो जेनेटिक मटेरियल है वो कैसा है, दैट आई डोंट नो. उसके पास कैसे एलीज हैं, आई डोंट नो. अब टॉल प्लांट है, इट कैन बी लाइक दिस, it can be like this, or it can be like this, right? All these three arrangements, they are going to represent the tall plant.
Right.
So now, what are the alleles found inside the gene? That is termed as genotype.
Okay.
Right? This is called as genotype. Is that clear? Because this is a very important question, difference between phenotype and genotype. Got it? Right? Now see, if I'm writing, let me change the color. If I'm writing capital T, small t, right? Both the characters, they are alike, right? They are alike. So I call this condition to be homozygous. Both are dominant or both are recessive, right? So this condition is homozygous, right? If I'm writing two different type of alleles, then it will be called as heterozygous condition. Now is it clear? Right? Okay. So do one thing. Now you have to write the definitions. Just one second. Because this chapter, it is interesting. But when it comes to the part of the questions, we are stuck. Always stuck. So number one, what you have to write, the definition of genotype. Then you have to write the definition of phenotype. Right? Then you have to write homozygous condition. Number 4, heterozygous. Number 5, alleles. Dominant traits. First of all, write these 6. Now, George Mendel, he took pea plant for his studies. Now, there were so many reasons behind selecting only this plant. First of all, the most important question from CBSE point of view, the scientific name of the pea plant, which is Pisum sativum. And believe me, this question really comes up in one of the sets. This is one of the most important questions of this chapter, right? One marker. So this is the scientific name of the pea plant. Now, why he selected pea plant only? इतने सारे plants हैं, उनमें से सिर्फ pea plant क्यों लिया? सबसे पहले तो जो एलीज थे ना, दे वर क्वाइट डिफरेंशिएबल. आप आराम से उनके बीच का डिफरेंस देख सकते थे. लाइक इफ द प्लांट इज टॉल तो टॉल दिखेगा, ड्राफ है तो ड्राफ दिखेगा, फ्लावर्स व्हाइट है, वायलेट है, तो वो दिखता है. डिफरेंस वाज विजिबल. Secondly, the lifespan of the pea plant was very short. Number three, they were very good in self-pollination, right? And number four, they required very less attention, right? अब obviously अगर आप कोई स्टडी कर रहे हैं, you need to have data. और डेटा आपको काफी सारे generations का लेना है. तो ये हमें अगर next generation बहुत जल्दी दे रहे हैं, within 3 months, if they are giving us the generation, that means we are going to get the next generation very soon, and we are going to collect up a large amount of data. So he conducted some experiments on Pisum sativum. He took the pure plants. Pure plants means they were homozygous in nature. Homozygous means both the alleles were of the same kind, right? And he took 7 contrasting characters. He did his experiments on all the 7 characters, and he concluded and he gave us 3 laws of inheritance, right? So I'll be doing the side-by-side laws also. And first of all, we are going to talk about the monohybrid inheritance. That means mono means there is involvement of one gene, right? So we are going to study how one gene is transmitted, right? Mono. So here I'm going to take, we'll pick height, okay? Inheritance. So we are going to pick the height. So my plant will be, pure plant is tall, and one of the next plant will be dwarf, right? So naturally, they are going to form gametes. So gametes will be formed like this, right? Here and small t. Now we are going to cross them, right? And this crossing will fetch us first generation, first filial generation, which is called F1 generation. Okay, right? So how we are going to talk about the probability of the next generation? We are going to make the probability kind of sample space, right? Here. So now the organism, this will be like this. This will fuse with this. This will also fuse with this. This will also fuse with this. Although the genotype is heterozygous, but you know, because of the dominant character, what I'll see that all plants are tall, right? So he was very much surprised where this dwarf character went. Was it like vanished? Gayab ho gaya, right? Obviously, I'm not able to see. See, at that time, you know, talking about the genotype was not possible. You could not see. But yes, phenotypically, I was very much, surprised. So now this is your first generation, and we call it to be F1 generation, right? For the F2 generation, we picked 2 organisms from the F1 generation only. Okay, and we are going to self-pollinate them. Means this will be pollinated with this, the same organism, right? Now, the gametes formed will be this, right? Here also, this. Got it? Now, we'll just see how the organisms will be formed. So, this will be capital T, capital T. This will be capital T, small t. This will be small t, capital T. And this will be small t, small t. So when phenotypically, I just had a look at this. What I saw, this was tall. This was tall, right? This one is also tall. But this was dwarf. Now see, in F2 generation, second filial generation, I could get an organism which was dwarf in nature. And the ratio of the phenotypic characters was 3:1. 3 were tall and 1 was dwarf. And if I see the genotypic ratio is tall, tall 1, is to 2,
Hmm.
this one is to 1 small t. So the ratio became 1 is to 2 is to 1. So this is genotypic ratio.
Hmm.
Okay. And 3 is to 1 is your phenotypic ratio.
Okay.
Okay. So this is your monohybrid inheritance. Now, what things came up at this from this study? He gave us two laws. One was the law of dominance, that the dominant trait is going to express itself irrespective of the kind of allele it has got. Right? We saw this. If it was capital T, small t, so the plant was tall. So that means the capital T dominated itself. Number two, it talked about the law of segregation. That means the
Hmm.
alleles got separated during gamete formation, right?
Okay.
So these were the two laws which were given by Mendel during the study of this experimentation, which is monohybrid inheritance, right?
Hmm.
So law of dominance and law of segregation, right?
Hmm.
Right.